than my freaking camera. Jesus.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GhostComms podcast. We have one of two men to ever hit 1 million arena points. We have the great LeBron or Bhronos. Bhronos, welcome on, man.
Pleasure
Welcome,
to be
welcome.
here, sir. How you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Dude,
Pretty good
I'm good.
myself.
I'm good. I'm great. I'm excited to get into what we want to get into here. So firstly, just give us some background. How did you get into gaming? How did that lead to Fort? How did that lead to streaming? All of that.
Well, ever since I was young, my dad always uh kind of got me into video games. I started with like Nintendo 64, Super Mario 64, grew up on Mario games, and then played Call of Duty, played that competitively. I was pretty good at COD. Like I was really good at COD. But then Fort came out, and right as Fort came out, I had like a bad leg injury, had to stop playing sports, and then
What sports were you playing at the time?
I played soccer and baseball mostly. I played basketball as well, but
Okay.
soccer was like my main sport.
What kind of injury, if you don't mind
Uh,
my asking?
I actually never went to a doctor because I don't think my parents really believed how bad it was. I was
Hmm.
playing at a showcase and I played so many games in one weekend that my leg basically just like gave out, and then I like
Hmm.
it was just never the same after that, so I never really got
That's
back into
funny.
it.
So it's interesting because I've actually like I broke my kneecap clean through in a car accident.
Ooh.
Um,
What the?
so it's a long story, but like that caused me to that was what made me get into like competitive Fort was losing that competitive outlet in
Exactly.
football and
Oh
basketball and
yeah.
baseball, and like it I needed to like outlet that somewhere, and Fort was on the rise. It was becoming like a worldwide phenomenon, and I was like, okay, like let's put this here and see what I can do with it. So I just think that's funny that we kind of have the same origin in that, so to speak.
Yeah, that's literally the exact same for me. I had nowhere like I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
compete in sports, so I had to just like do it somewhere else and like
Mm.
or and video games in general. I mean, I've always been like a highly competitive person my whole life,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
kind of feel like that's how it
Right.
is when you play sports in general.
You, you think
But
that's
yeah.
do you think that's like how a lot of the kids now that are like growing up playing like esports or like for instead of sports, like just like they never got into it, like never got into sports, or they weren't like good enough at it, so they like have routed it there, or like a lot of the
Um,
pros that you've met too. Do you think like that's like the origin of it?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility, but I also know a lot of people who like played sports up until they got really good at Fort, and then they just like quit sports to focus
Mm.
on Fort and competitive video games
Yeah,
in
who was it?
general.
Is it was it Ops that had like an actual like sports career like lined up for himself, and then he decided to play. I remember him tweeting or somebody tweeting something along the lines of like they had like an NBA like
Dude,
contract or something like
I
that
know who
on
you're
the line.
talking about.
Yeah.
I mentioned this on stream like yesterday. I was like, somebody had like a bunch of D1 basketball offers but turned them down.
Hmm.
And I thought it was Mars, but everyone called me stupid.
Mm.
So I don't
Oh,
know who it was, but it was
I feel like
someone.
it's Ops, but I could be wrong. But
You,
I
I
you're
know.
probably
know.
right on that.
I know that I'm pretty sure Scented was also one of the players where he was. I think he was really into sports, or like I think wrestling was one of
Hockey.
them.
Yeah.
Wrestling, hockey.
Mm.
Apparently, he did all this stuff, and then yeah, and then as soon as Fork came out, he kind of just like dipped on all of them or something.
Mm.
Yeah.
But he was apparently like number one because he was Canadian, so he was like number one in the region at his time, like when he was in high school and stuff. But
Mm.
I mean, it's kind of crazy because a lot of the pros, like you don't know a lot of the backstories, but when you hear it, it's kind of surprising, especially with like sports and stuff.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them are into like 2 to 3 different sides of
Yeah.
sports. You would assume like maybe they were into one and maybe not even any, to be honest.
Yeah. No, most of them, like especially the older gen, like the kids who are like above like 17, 18 now
Yeah.
played like a sport growing up and then like filtered that into for later.
Hmm.
Um so okay, so like leg injury, like couldn't play sports at the same level anymore and needed a competitive outlet, so that got you into competitive for it. Like when was that and when did that like how did that develop and how quickly for you?
Um, back in the day, like I don't know how many people know what kill races are, but like back in the
Hmm.
day, like kill races were the
Oh
main
yeah.
like competitive Fort
Yeah, like
like
the Fortnite
mode.
Fridays
The
type shit.
Yeah,
Fortnite
yeah,
Fridays. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Like there were websites like CMG and UMG, and then there's other ones as well that hosted like big kill race tourneys, and that was even like Chapter 1 Season 2 and 3, those started to get big.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is, I would come home from school, take a nap for a little bit, couple hours, and then I just play kill race tournaments all night. And I was
Yeah.
making like a lot of money from those. And I've definitely mentioned this on stream a lot. Like I was making like 1 to 2K a week off of tourneys sometimes. Like it was
Mm,
like a good amount of money. I was
dang.
around like 16 at the
Yeah.
time, and my
Yeah.
Yeah.
parents made me get a job for minimum wage, and I was like so
Yeah.
mad
That's
because I'm like I
crazy.
could just make more money doing this.
Hmm.
But yeah, like once kill race started to die out, I I never really fully focused on comp. That's kind of my biggest issue. Like I kind of
Mm.
focus on it, but I really don't put in the time, which is why I've never like gotten over the level of just being like pretty mid tier at the game.
Do you regret not taking comp as seriously, or like being on that status, I guess?
Um, I mean, sometimes yes, but then I just think like from like a financial perspective, like streaming and content is definitely like
Mm.
way safer.
Oh
And
yeah,
I feel like
for
if I
sure.
was like
Mm.
if you're not like tier one in comp, then you're kind of just and you're like right below like tier two pros. Like
Yeah.
you're just placing, you're making like maybe a couple thousand on a good month, and
Hmm.
Yeah.
like you just never like you'll never be able to quit because you know you're right there. It's like
Mm.
the sunken cost fallacy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you have a few thousand followers on Twitter, but you're not like making enough to like pay rent or anything like that. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
exactly.
have clout, but you don't have like a career in that sense. So,
Hmm.
do you think that like that the fact that you never took comp that seriously, but you knew like there was something there, like with the kill races and whatever, do you think that led you into streaming, or do you think you found like what was like the motivation to kind of switch into the content like sphere?
Um, my main motivation to start streaming, I remember early chapter two, I started gaining like a decent following on Twitter. The original like thing that made me gain followers was having people put Bhronos fan in their epics. Like they would tweet most like reply in
Yeah.
24 hours.
Mm,
And then
Yeah.
I just replied Bhronos fan and everybody started like hopping on the train. Gained a lot of
Hmm.
followers off that. And then
mm,
I was just like funny tweet guy for the longest time. And
mm.
then I
Yeah.
saw Tabs G start streaming, and Tabs G was another like funny Twitter guy. And I
Yeah,
saw him
yeah.
getting like a bunch of viewers, and everyone in my friend group kind of convinced me to start streaming.
Mm,
And then I feel like the hardest part of getting into streaming is like averaging the first like 15 20 viewers, but I
mhm,
kind of like
Oh yeah.
skipped that by
mm.
like already having like a
Yeah,
following on Twitter, so that
building it
helped.
Or-
elsewhere. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And then I noticed like I was making like decent money off that, and I was like, well, I might as well just try and see where it goes.
I
Mm,
think
And
I think that's one mistake that kids in this like community make. Like they just the like starting to stream, like it's a great habit, but you also need to learn that streaming involves making your community greater at every point you can get. So some of
mm,
the kids just stream and then complain about not getting viewers and not getting like
mm,
their payout checks and what like that. But it's because they're
mm,
not like focusing on the actual
mhm.
aspect of streaming. They're just hoping
mm.
the numbers come in randomly.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
I think it's like two things too, because it's like when you take like your origin, Bronos, of like you had a niche because you were one of the funny guys on Twitter. So like you have that like comedic
Oh yeah.
niche that people enjoy, and then you like exploited it on a different platform than Twitch because Twitch's discoverability is so dog shit. And I think that's like
Exactly.
what kids miss out
Yeah.
on when they're trying to start out and recreate those stories. They don't realize those like slight differences. Um,
Yep.
Okay, so how did like the streaming and like, you know, kind of the origin of that, how did that lead into the arena race? I've never known where that idea came from or like
Mhm.
what kind of made you flip that switch to get into the first arena race. Cause I was like, you may have been known a little bit, but that like obviously made you blow up where
That blew
like
you up,
everyone
yeah,
knew who you
exactly.
were.
Because you
Yeah.
you definitely got a lot of exposure off that arena race. Because no one's thought to do a million arena points or fight for a
Hmm.
million arena points, and to know that there was also a rival there in Claw, like explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, arena grinding was always kind of a thing. I know everybody
Yeah,
used to clown
yeah,
Mars
yeah,
OW, and I know
Right.
Fernando got
Yeah.
like pretty big
yeah.
off it. And I had like noticed like the viewership they got from that. And
Oh
then I
yeah.
remember Chapter 2 Season 7 came out, and it was like summertime, and I just really wanted to
Yep.
try and like full send streaming and see what I could do. So
Mm.
originally that season I was just like, okay, I'm gonna stream as much as possible
Right.
and see where it goes. But then I was like, wait, like arena's fun, and I was like almost first on the leaderboard. I'm like, okay, screw it, I'm just gonna grind for first on the leaderboard. And
Mm.
then as I started like streaming more and I was first, I just kept getting viewers, and then viewers kept going up and up, and it just kept motivating me to stream more and more. And
Right.
Mm.
then um Jarian video happened. I was first in the video, so I got a lot of exposure from it.
Oh yeah,
My viewers were really good, but
Jared
then
helps out with the exposure a lot.
yeah,
Hmm.
Jarian's the goat. It's one
Of
of my
course,
good friends right now.
it's
Yeah.
good to hear.
Well,
Seems
I
like a
don't
great
know why I
guy.
said right now. He's a great guy, but nah. So then I went on vacation that season,
Mm.
and it
Okay.
like really just killed my drive. I had no
Yeah.
motivation.
Tank the
Came
momentum.
home,
Right.
Yeah.
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 But then it was at that point I realized like I can definitely make something from streaming. So
Oh yeah.
I ended up taking the semester off of school, moved here to Virginia, zero ping,
Hmm.
Mm.
Yep.
and then I knew that when I got here I was just gonna grind. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I was gonna grind. And then
Mm.
first couple months I was here, I did nothing. I streamed like 30 hours in 2 months, and then new
Mm.
chapter got announced, and I was like, I'm doing whatever it takes. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mm.
Yep.
So
Mm.
new chapter comes out, and immediately I knew I was just gonna grind arena, and I knew
Mm.
Claw was gonna be doing it too. And then after a few days of playing it, I realized like, wait, we could probably get 1 million arena points this season.
Mm.
And
Right.
then I like jokingly put it in my title one day, but then I slowly started to realize like it's actually
It's
possible.
It was
realistic. It's
actually
actually
possible.
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And then after a few like a couple weeks, me and Claw were just like ahead of everybody in the leaderboard. And then it
Yeah.
was me
Yeah.
versus like Claw and Problem, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then Claw and
Yep.
Problem started playing together. And then for the most of the time it was like me and Fox playing together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just didn't really have like a set like duo quote unquote to play with all day.
Play with all
But
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
mean that whole season it was just like me, Claw, and Problem seeing like who could get to a mill first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the like main thing is like we genuinely like disliked each other at the time, which I think
Yeah.
definitely helped with making
Okay.
it entertaining.
Oh
I
Yeah.
mean,
yeah. Yeah.
like I know I say I'm like a businessman and it was all for entertainment, but most like all that stuff in the original race, like that was pretty real. Like we
Yeah.
genuinely didn't like each other, and like the stuff
Yeah.
we said about each other was like
Was
we,
was
we
there a
meant it.
was there a specific reason you guys didn't like each other besides the arena race, or was it
Uh, I don't know. I think it was just like the competitiveness in it,
okay?
Mm.
That's
and
fair. That's fair.
I don't know, and like uh, towards the end of the race, a few scummy things were done,
And that's what I
like
was gonna ask. Yeah, the
yeah,
accusations about that. So
yeah.
on your end, what was your like what were your thoughts when you heard about the accusations or when you figured it out? Like what were you like thinking? Because you were spending so much time streaming and grinding for 1 million arena points, and everybody knows like it's not been done to this day. Like aside from you and Claude, it's never been hit. So like knowing that grind and there was the whole point of the competition was to stream everything and to know that Claw was playing off stream or whatever.
Mm.
What was that? What was the feeling like for you?
Yeah, so the first day I realized like he was like doing something. Like I was like,
Mhm.
wait, I was just confused at first. I'm like, how like what's going on here? And
Right,
then eventually like we figured out what they were doing. We realized he was like just having people duo trio while he would like sleep or just like ready up. And
right.
then the first like couple days, like I mean I definitely said this before. Like I did that for like maybe I think 2 nights. I had like Fox and Zenny like
Mm.
play, but I would wake up. I would wake up and click the ready up button myself. Like I mean, I would play a game here and there, but I wasn't getting any sleep. I was
I
sleeping
Yeah. Yeah.
legitimately. I was sleeping actually like I would basically do 40 hours, like 36 to 40 hours, and then I'd sleep for 4, and then I'd stay up like
Yeah.
36 to
Yeah.
40. Like I was
yeah,
numb to the feeling of tiredness.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then like even after those times, like I would like for those 2 nights, I would like just have Fox call me between games, and like he'd be like, "You got to ready up," and then it'd just be like. But then
Mm.
it was like at this point, like if he's like fully just like not caring, it's just obvious. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to do that anymore. So at that
Mhm.
point, I was like, I don't care, dude. We're not doing that. Like if I win, I win. If not, then whatever.
Mm. Mm.
But what I didn't realize at the time is I thought he was doing like the same thing. I thought he was just like waking up to ready up himself, but it turned out he was having his dad ready up for him. So he was getting real good sleep.
What?
Like
That's
he
crazy.
he was getting actual good sleep, and I was like sitting there just like
Yeah, that's nuts.
dead.
Well,
I
and
mean,
that
I
changes
was
the whole game too, because when you're running on full uninterrupted like REM, like for example, like
yeah
when you're running on sleep like that, you're gonna play better for those hours that you're up, and that was why. Because people were pointing out like, well, it doesn't matter if Claw's doing this because like he's gaining X amount more points per hour, but it's like if you're playing better because you're getting more sleep because you're not actually doing anything like that, that has a big
The
play into
runaway
it.
for
But
him, yeah.
yeah,
yeah
that's interesting.
So like with the whole, so after, so did you actually like converse with Claw about it, or did you kind of just like just call him out on Twitter, or like all the Twitter stuff that started that day?
Like like as soon as I realized it was just like obvious what was happening,
Hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
I tweeted it, but like even after he hit a mill, like after he actually hit a mill, we all
Yeah.
hopped into a call, and
Mm.
then like he didn't want to admit it first, but then within like the couple days following, he just like I know he dropped like a twit longer, and it was just so long, like
Right.
Yeah.
regarding
I
it
do.
that
I think I
he
remember that to
yeah,
longer.
he
I think I
mentioned in the
remember
twit
that.
longer that he like had his dad ready for him, but like nobody really cared.
Mm.
And honestly,
Right.
I don't really care about it now. Like I did at the
Oh
time,
Yeah.
yeah.
but
Sure.
like now I don't care. Me and Clark are cool now.
The
Mm.
most important part is that both of you got a lot of exposure from that. Like
Yeah,
you have been able to stream. I think you're right now. You're consistently somewhat streaming, right?
yeah. I've streamed every day for the last month and a
Yeah.
half.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So
And
like that
you're peaking
exposure
in
from
like the
that.
700-800 range too at
I
times.
Hmm.
was for a minute, yeah,
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
was actually doing the race.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Just seeing it.
I think you definitely got more of a name than Claw did. Like even though Claw was the one to hit 1 mil first or whatever, like I actually think that your brand has
Oh,
benefited more
grown.
in the
Definitely.
long run.
Yeah.
Like people know you as the arena guy, even though you were second. Like
Hmm.
I don't know.
Quote unquote second. Yeah.
But so okay, the only thing I want to talk about with the original arena race, like additional, is what happened with the PC dying for like 3 days? Because I heard some
Oh
crazy shit
yeah.
about
No,
like that
it
somebody
wasn't the
like
PC.
sabotaged the PC remotely, and I was like, "There's no
Oh
way
no
that
no no.
happened."
It
Yeah.
was
There's
my
no
internet.
doubt.
I got like hit offline. I got DDoS for like
Mm,
3 days,
Really?
and
that's yeah.
I mean the timing of it was just like
Horrid.
I had like no doubt in my mind it was either Claw or Problem or somebody close to him.
Right.
That's
But
crazy.
I
That's
actually
yeah.
found out as of like a month ago. I am 99% sure I know who it is who actually did it, and they
That's
actually
insane.
they don't stream anymore. But I won't name
Wow.
drop, but I know who it
Did
is. It
they
wasn't anybody like related to them.
did, so it wasn't on Claw's call or anything. Like it
Nah,
wasn't
nah. It was just
okay.
another arena grinder. They don't play the
It's
No,
so
game
that
anymore though.
scummy. It just doesn't
dude,
like
no, there were like factions, bro. Like as
yeah.
a viewer, like
Hmm.
there was a very clear understanding of like you are team Claw or you're team Bhronos, and there was like a very
Yeah.
clear like divide
Yeah.
with that where you were like picking sides, and I think that fueled the whole thing, and like that's what made it so entertaining for everyone was like it's like the two teams in the Super Bowl or like and anytime there's like a rivalry, like you created that feeling of like a hometown college rivalry within the game, and that was like really special for people to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um but like dude, the things that went back and forth, like the DDoS, they were like how true were the things of like people paying other people to like
Oh,
stream snipe you and like to play to not play with other people? Because I remember like jokes would go like on your stream of like, oh, I'm gonna pay you, I'll give you
oh
$100 not
yeah.
to play with Claw right now. But like how real was all of that?
Oh, that was real. There's a guy, one of my really good friends. Like he was playing with Claw and Problem or Claw and whoever every other morning or like every single morning.
Mm.
And I realized like this is bad for business. And I was like, all right, dude, here, let's make a deal, bro. I'll give you $400. I gave him $400 to not play with Claw anymore
That's
for the rest of
Dang.
the
crazy.
season.
Dang.
That's crazy.
I
Because
mean,
the thing was is like I definitely like I was making a lot of money from it, and
Hmm.
I kind of lost. Like I kind of didn't care. Like I kind of just wanted to win regardless of what I had to do. So I was like, "Fuck it.
Hmm.
hmm
Oh, you don't want to play with them? Here's some bread." And then
I
it was like
mean, yeah.
it was deep into the season as well, so it was hard to like get
Mm-hmm.
people who were
Yeah,
decent at
yeah.
the game to play. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
like Elsa, for example. I don't know if you guys know who Elsa
Oh
is,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
I would be like, all right, dude, just play with me for a few hours. Dude, I'll give you like $4 a win, man. And like, and then
That's crazy.
he'd be like trying just because like the money stacks up. I mean, he made a couple $100 in like a
Money
week.
is
So
money at the end of the day, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's where the me paying people to play comes from because like nobody ever
Yeah.
wanted to play like at that time because it was
Mm.
also around grands.
Yeah.
So like
Oh
anybody
yeah.
good didn't really want to play.
Right.
But I think one of the coolest parts about that whole thing is like it was literally the week of grands, and I didn't think it'd be that big, especially in the comp scene, like the million point race. But
Yeah.
literally, I would open up my Twitter timeline at any time of day, and like every other tweet was about me and
Hmm.
Claus pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Because
Yeah, dude, that was
again, it was like never done. Like no one ever
yeah.
thought of the idea of going for that many arena points. So like when people saw that, it was definitely like yeah, like you said, the competitiveness definitely pushed it to another step.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing that really sucked though was like that was like the first thing that I've really put like all of my effort into and just failed at. I was like, dang man,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
I've never really failed that hard while
Hmm.
trying
But
so hard to
that
accomplish.
fail was also, listen, as much as you could consider it a fail, look at the positive it made in your brand,
Yeah,
True.
I mean,
right?
failure. That's a. I understand if that's the standard you hold yourself to. I would argue that that was a
You got
success,
more
like
out of
way
it than
more
you
than
think.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, than ever.
Hmm.
Than you ever could have imagined. Um,
True.
Hmm.
no, that's huge. So then, well, and I think especially like you mentioned, like with Grands, like Chapter 3 was such a disappointment for the player base, especially for the comp community, because we were privileged with the end of Chapter 2 with like the Alien season and then like season 8 with Spaz meta and like having that go away with the Striker, which now we appreciate, but back then it was like the worst thing that could have happened. But um, like people like I actually was going through the tweets today in preparation for this, looking at the 1 million points, and every tweet was about the 1 million point race is more exciting than FSCS Grands. Like everyone was watching it more because like the meta was disappointing. Chapter 3 was a disappointment. Like comp was on the decline. The game was at one of the lowest that it's ever been. So in a lot of ways, I think you carried the lifespan of the game and competitive longer than it should have, and you let it coast long enough to where like it like is beginning now with Chapter 4 to like have a return, like with lands and stuff like that. Um, so now you're back at it. What was the motivation like to get back into another arena race?
Uh, if you want me to be honest, money was looking tight, man. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, Honestly, like the issue is after the original race last year, um, I stopped streaming because I was really burnt out and demotivated. Like my
Yeah.
Yeah,
numbers,
sure.
my like the thing people don't understand unless you've actually been in the spot is like once you quote unquote like make it as a streamer, like you're in like a new high point, and
Yep.
then you just like decline from that. Like mentally, it takes a
Mhm.
toll.
It takes a massive
Yeah,
Yeah,
toll
yeah,
for sure.
and then you
And
go
yeah.
from it's just like a slippery slope. Like you
and
turn on the
Mm,
stream, the
yeah.
numbers are worse. The numbers are worse. It
yeah.
makes you more demotivated. You're demotivated. You don't stream. Numbers
And
get worse. Blah
sometimes
blah
it's not
blah.
even the slope. Sometimes it's just seeing stagnant numbers for like a consistent set of time. Like
True.
seeing that, like let's say you're
Yeah.
averaging 250, you're seeing 200 for like that long period of time, and you're like,
Mm,
something, I'm doing something wrong, and then it just pushes you not to like continue with
mhm,
it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I really didn't stream at all from like
mhm.
Right.
October until Chapter 4 came out, and then once I
Yeah.
saw Chapter 4 came out, I'm like, okay, like I'm just gonna
This
lock in again
time to lock in
Yeah.
again.
and do this. But the thing is
So
I always did say, oh, sorry, you go.
no, go ahead, go ahead,
Okay,
go ahead.
I was gonna say that I always said if I ever arena raced again, I'm sleeping 8 hours a night. I
Yeah.
don't care
Yeah.
if somebody wants to
Yep.
sleep like 4 hours a night or pull
Mm.
40 hours all the time, they can do it. They can beat me, but I'll do it. But I'm getting my sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I asked you when I met you at Invitational, I'm pretty sure I asked you like what effect did that have on like you physically and mentally? And you told me you lost like a crazy amount of weight like
Yeah.
with the lack of sleep and stuff.
Mm,
So like I don't know, it's a W that you like are looking out for your health in this one. And still pulling like a ton of good viewership. Everyone in the new arena race, I like it almost seems like overall the viewership is higher because of the reputation of the first one. Like you have people that aren't even really grinding. Like you have JV, Fox,
Yeah.
SR3, um, who else? You obviously, and then Brando. Like you have all of those guys getting 100, 200 plus
yeah.
in this new
Yeah.
one. For you, it obviously like feels different. You're not full grinding. It's not the thing that everyone's talking about. But is it like, I mean, you've been streaming a lot more and really consistently. So has it like sparked new motivation in you? And is it at all like how much is it similar in a feeling to the first one?
I mean, definitely for the first like few weeks of this one when I was like I wasn't like fully trying, but like I was trying a little bit. still getting my sleep. Like it just like it felt good to be like back, like sorry, I don't know how to word this properly, but just being able to get on and have something to do all day, every day, just having
Mm,
something to stream, it's just really
mm,
motivating. So,
mm,
and it just reminded me of like, I don't know, I loved the feeling last year, like same time, like I just get on the game, I stream all day, the numbers
mm.
are up,
Yeah.
it's a good feeling. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I,
No, I
I mean,
mean
even now the
that's
numbers are good.
a big thing with Fort for sure that I found too, and is like if you're not playing with people or you don't have like some like goal set for yourself, it's
Yeah.
so hard to just you can't just like get on the game and play it. Like
Yeah.
you have to be a comp player, like going for, challenger or elite, or you have to be like a
Hmm.
streamer trying to get a certain amount of numbers or followers or whatever. Like it's so hard to just get on the game and play like for
Yeah.
your enjoyment or even just like for your betterment. Like yeah. So I mean, I totally get that of like, um, feeling about getting better. So with the, I was gonna ask you this, with the new race, did Invitational have something to do with that? Because obviously that was where like I met you, and that's where we talked a little bit for the first time, you, me, and Fox. But like, what was that experience like, and did that influence like the new arena race?
Invitational, definitely just being around a bunch of people like
Mm-hmm.
that I know online, 100% like motivated me to just like grind again in general.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that definitely, I think it was definitely good that I went there because I had no plans of
Yeah.
going.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, and talking to you, I like meeting you in person. You're actually the goat. Like, I don't
Well,
even
I
know. Like,
appreciate it.
what after I talked to you and Fox, I was like, damn, bro, like maybe I should just like do it again. And then like I
Yeah.
remember because they announced it was Chapter 4 at Invitational, and
Yeah.
literally
Oh
I asked
Yeah.
yeah.
Fox,
Yep.
bro, I
Mhm.
think I don't know, like if I can find the tweet for you, like you might be able to put it up. If I might have deleted it, but I think I tweeted on new chapter like I'm unfollowing off or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember tweeting that as soon
No,
as it got announced, but
I remember the second that it happened because it was before game 12, which we all thought was weird. And then they
Mhm.
just like dropped that massive bomb on us. But I remember I was sitting like 10 rows in front of you. And I remember I had like seen you back there. And the second they announced the new chapter, I was like, bro, I turned around. I was like, bro, you have to send a new arena race. Like a new chapter arena race has to happen. Um, I thought that was wishful thinking at the time. So I'm glad I predicted that correctly. But yeah, dude, Invitational was incredible. Like just being, like you said, like meeting people that you know from online in person is a really special experience anyway. Um, but like being around, there was a really distinct sense of community of like, oh, these are the people. Like when we talk about community, because I've been really hesitant to call it the Fort Calm before, because it didn't. I never felt like I was involved. I never felt
Mm.
like I was in a community in that sense until Invitational. And then I was like, oh, this is a group of people that we're all like bonded in the way of like we love this game. And like it was just so clear that the atmosphere was like incredible. The vibes were up the whole time. Like I did not meet one person that I was like angry with or like
mhm.
Oh
that I
yeah.
got annoyed with the whole time I was there because my mental was like skyrocketing, like seeing all these people passionate about the game, getting excited about big plays and stuff like that.
I think
So,
being at a LAN, it's like all that online drama that happens. It kind of just like
mm,
slowly fades away, especially at a LAN. Like I wish I went to a
mm,
LAN, and I still wish I went to TwitchCon or like DreamHack.
mm.
Um, but I feel like yeah, if you have online drama with someone, I feel like it's not taken as seriously at LANs or like IRL, other than the Diego Play stuff that happened, I guess. At DreamHack, that
Yeah,
was really funny. But
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think
Other
you
than
realize how stupid it is. Like the
yeah,
online stuff.
it's
Like when you're looking at a person like face to face, you're like, bro,
yeah,
this is like, why did we ever like beef about that? Like I think being behind a screen, you're a lot more willing to
like I guess.
indulge in those like impulses and that like
Oh
those
yeah,
emotions. You're
yeah,
like you let them run high because you can't just like sit down and talk to that person. Like
Yeah.
you can block them
yeah.
or you can like whatever. Um, no, that's sick though. So
That reminds me of something real quick, if you don't
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
But yeah, no.
Oh,
I
of
like at
course.
Invitational. I mean, I know there's like a few people. Like, I mean, everybody has like people who dislike them in the scene.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
Hmm.
like,
yeah.
I don't want to name drop, but there's like a group of like a friend group of people that really just dislike me,
Mm.
and like I
Mm.
talk to them all at Invitational, and I think like talking to them in person is definitely makes a big
Oh yeah,
difference.
because
So,
like online interpretation, especially, is like the worst thing
Mm.
that can happen, especially with
Mm.
messages or anything streaming. Because you're
Yeah,
letting go
yeah.
so much, but IRL, like, or like in real life at lands, you're kind of just like Like you're more relaxed. Like everybody around you's
Yeah.
relaxed, so it kind of creates that more relaxing vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. Like I feel
Yeah.
like the way I make my like the way I portray myself on Twitter and sometimes on stream is like
Yeah.
everyone just thinks I'm like a trolling douchebag,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
sort of a like a dork,
Yeah.
and I'm just like an idiot. So it's
Well,
like
that, but see,
I don't know.
that's where you're like, I've always understood that that's like a character, like in a sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I've
Oh
always
yeah,
understood
yeah,
like
for sure.
it's a caricature. Like you're very much like it's exaggerated. It's over the top, like so intentionally. And that for me that's easy to read. And I like so I don't know, because there are people where like I don't know, like you take like a clicks for example. There's obviously some of it that's a character, but I don't know where that line is, and I really
Yeah.
couldn't tell you. Like it's really hard to tell. Um, but no, like I've always understood that with you, and then like talking to you a little bit at Invitational, and then DreamHack again when we saw each other, and then like the conversations that we've had afterwards, like you are a lot more like mature and cerebral, and like there's just a lot more to you, and that's like that was kind of part of the inspiration behind wanting to do this podcast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just kind of that media was getting this side of creators where it's like, yeah, they have a life and they're people like normal people who have like deep qualities about them that we don't always get to see. But that was like it was a big surprise, not a big surprise for me, but I think it would be for other people to know like how chill you are IRL
Yeah.
and just like in general. Um, yeah.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, yeah. So Invitational was great. Inspired the new arena race. I'm gonna take partial credit for that, even though it probably doesn't. I probably don't deserve
Just
Definitely
need
it.
did
to
a little
just
bit.
need to put yourself in there.
But then
What? Go
so
ahead. Go
then
ahead.
with that new season with the new arena race, let's talk a little bit about the Irelia thing. So you got back into
Yep.
streaming, you get like this new org pops out of nowhere. What was that like? Because I remember you and Fox were unsigned the beginning of the season, right? By the time it dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what was that whole process? Because obviously like you're no longer with them. So like what was that whole situation?
Yeah, so like towards the beginning, like early December, I remember uh Cam Nuts wanted to host some like no build tournament, and he offered me a captain spot, and he wanted me to hop into a call to just like talk about something real quick.
Mm,
Right.
And I thought it was like regarding the tournament, and originally it was, but then he started
yeah.
talking about like Aurelia, the org, and
Mm,
then basically like he was talking about how he was talking to Fox, and like I had no intention of like signing with anybody at the time,
Right.
mm-hmm.
but I mean they gave me like an okay offer, which I mean they gave me a good offer for where I was at the time because I
Yeah.
hadn't streamed in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't really valuable in the player
Sure.
streamer
Sure.
market. So, you know,
Right.
and I was like, okay, like I'll take this money. So the deal we had was like just 1 month. We had like we agreed on an amount for 1 month, and then
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
after that month we were gonna renegotiate, like based on where my numbers
Okay.
were. Because I
Hmm.
knew I was gonna like grow a lot within the
Mm-hmm.
first
Yeah.
month. So
Right.
I figured I'd be
Right.
worth more. And we were gonna be like, okay, well if we can't agree on a number after the month, you know, we just part ways. It's okay. But
Yeah. Right.
um, so when I was in the call, I agreed to like do certain things. I told them I'm like I'm going to be doing the arena race. I'm gonna have no time to join like meetings or
Yep.
like make content.
Right.
I made it very clear in the whole time, the whole call. They were like all the owners were like, yeah, that's fine. Just do your thing. Put the
Yeah.
branding on the stream. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
talk about the org here
Like
and
no
there.
extra deliverables, no
Yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah.
TikToks, no like yeah, got you.
Exactly. Like the agreement we had was that there's nothing like nothing else. I was just doing my thing. I did exactly what they told me to do. They gave me half up front. They were going to give me half at the end of the month, and then we
Yep.
renegotiate, and then we go from there. And
Right.
I mean, the amount of money, it wasn't like I didn't mind like having a contract or not. But the thing
Mhm.
is when they so we have to edit this out. I just stuttered so hard. But
That's
like
fine.
when they sent me the contract like more than 2 weeks after I had already announced, and I had already gotten
Right.
half the money. And then
Mm.
the thing is when he sent me the contract, it was just one singular Discord message, and like no like Twitter DM, like yo
Yeah.
check the contract, no nothing. Literally,
Yeah.
I was just sent the contract, nothing else.
Yeah.
I didn't even see it because you know I'm waking up and getting right on the game, like
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
and
Right.
doing
Of
nothing
course.
else. But then like in that meeting that we had at the end of the month,
Yeah.
you know, we
Which was
talked.
on stream. Like you were like muted on
I was
stream
muted while
playing
streaming,
arena race.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
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 And they were recording me. I had no idea I was being recorded. But
That's
like
crazy.
They
they,
didn't let you
they
know prior hand.
nah. But that whole
That's
time while I was in the call, like honestly, like I was trying to be respectful, but at the same time, I know we're not. I'm like, there's not going to be like an agreement. I'm not going to be re-signing.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm
Yeah.
just trying to like be like, yeah, blah blah blah. Good luck, good luck. Just try to get out of the call. So then they
Yeah.
thought they could like use that recording as ammo to say I did quote unquote nothing for the org. But then after
Mm.
that meeting
Yep.
ended, I DM'd Cam Nuts, the owner, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy, but are you able to send the other half of the money? And then he was like, wait, you I don't think you're getting paid. I'm like, I thought he was trolling. I
Yeah.
literally said it
Yeah.
like, I was like, haha, good one. Like, and
Yeah.
then he was like
Right.
serious. I'm like, wait, it's like you're seriously not paying me. And like
Yeah.
during that month, the time I was in the org, I averaged like for the entire month like 300 plus viewers. I gained
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
19,000
Yep.
followers. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I did everything they told me to do, and then I ended up like looking at this contract because he mentioned the contract, and I was like,
Hmm.
and I opened it, and nothing we agreed on in the call was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
Right.
I came to the conclusion that they were never gonna like pay me in the first place, like
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
because
Yeah.
I
They
don't
just
even
tried to
know.
retcon you and use your brand. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
I
hopped in a call with them, so
I
sorry, yeah.
remember something about like a performance eval, and that was like one of the reasons. Like, is this like any of this ring a bell? But like, I thought I remember something about like performance evaluation, and that was gonna like determine whether you got paid or how much you got paid or something like that. And they tried to use that as like the reasoning behind why you weren't getting the second half.
Not that I know of. I don't remember them
Okay.
saying anything about that. But
Okay.
their reasoning was I didn't do what my contract said. But the thing is
Mm.
I never signed a contract because the contract
Right.
they
Yeah.
sent me had nothing to do with the
Right.
agreement. So it was
Yeah.
just
Mm.
more of like a like I mean sure from a legal perspective they don't have to pay me, but it's like
Right.
Cam Nuts was like a close mutual friend. I've known him for a while,
Mm.
Yeah.
so I figured I could trust him. I'd already gotten half the money, like the amount of
Right.
money they
Right.
owed
Right.
me,
Right. Yeah.
like
Right.
I
Well, at
didn't
least
care
that
about
was
it, and that's the
smart to
thing.
like get your first half at
Yeah.
least up front. Yeah.
Yep.
The thing was
Yeah.
is like I never even really cared about the money. Like the amount of money was
Oh
just
Mm.
like
yeah.
I really don't
Yeah.
care. But I was just like, are you guys like seriously gonna ruin the org's rep over this amount of
Mm.
money?
Over that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
and it did
And
because there were a couple
Because
people that left after you, right?
yeah.
Like
Because
like
it.
in
they didn't
quick
play
succession.
play if I didn't get paid either.
Mm,
Mm.
yep.
So but nah, what's funny is so I had that meeting, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then the next day, like they were like, okay, let's hop in a call and discuss it. And they were like, okay, I joined the call. They're like, why do you think you should get paid? And I explained to them like
Yeah.
basically what I said earlier. Like I just
Yeah.
like did everything I said,
I
blah blah
did
blah.
what we agreed upon. Yeah. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they just started arguing like, oh, you didn't attend the meeting. I'm like, okay, like nothing happens in these meetings. You
Yeah.
guys just say the same
Yeah.
stuff every week. Like it had
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do
Yeah.
with it. And then
Yeah.
one of the first lines was Taz. He goes, Taz has enough money to fund this org 10 times over himself. And I said, okay, then send me the money. And
Yeah.
then he
Yeah.
said,
Exactly.
that's not how this works.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't know. At the end of the day, honestly, I'm kind of glad they like did it to me before they did it to like somebody who
To
doesn't
anybody
have like the
else.
platform. Yeah.
Because you didn't
Mm.
care. Because you
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
about the
Like
payout
the
from
fact
it.
that like
Right.
in a non-egotistical way, the fact that they had like the audacity to scam me when I was like
Oh
Sure.
yeah.
the
No. For
biggest player on
sure.
the org is like
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy because they'll literally do it to anybody. And with
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
incentive program they have going on, like there's no contracts involved. Like I already know they're gonna find a
Yeah.
way to finesse people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
If there's not something, if there's not a bottom line holding those agreements in place, then yeah, most people
Yeah.
like just by virtue of how they are, and especially those like quick, like pop up tent type orgs where it's like they come into existence randomly on Twitter, they amass like 10,000 followers, and then they just kind of start signing these massive names, and they're gone within a month.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's a weird trend, and I think it's like I think it's a like a little kid wanting to play house type thing. Like it's like these people who want to be in the org system, they want it to be professional and official, and they want to be working this as a career, and they just
Yep.
kind of make this like mockery of what they think an org looks like. And there's none of the inside business dealings, there's none of the law, there's none of the like any of the actual stuff that makes it official and crosses that line.
Yep.
And they just kind of act, they pretend it's like they're actors. and it ends up getting a lot of people like hurt, and it kind of preys on people's like streamers wants and players wants to like be a part of that system. So like you see so many people like jumping on those opportunities because they think it's going to kickstart their career, and then it just ends up not playing out. So
Yeah.
so that happened. How quickly did the pipeline thing, like how did that happen? Because you were like it was almost like I turned around after the Irelia thing and you were already re-signed. So
Pipeline, yeah.
like yeah,
Yeah.
how was that?
So, well, after all that stuff happened with Aurelia, they made themselves look like clowns on the TL themselves by tweeting
They
out like
they
the
put the
video.
screenshots. They put the
Yeah.
screenshots, and I was like, you're trying to be a professional organization, but you're putting screenshots of conversations with the player that just
Mm-hmm.
called you guys out. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure they're all the replies. Nobody was like, even if they tried to prove a point, nobody was like, oh, you guys are proving a point. No, everybody was like, you guys are trying to be an organization. I think any comp report replied to it was like, what organization drops screenshots under a tweet? It
Yeah.
just didn't
Yeah.
like it didn't
Yeah.
realistically make sense. And I remember going because I'm the team lead for like I'm the fort lead for a team. I remember going to one of my owners and showing them this and I'm like, what the like this isn't an organization. This is just a scam run all over again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they tweeted the video, like the recording of the one meeting. Like I
Yeah,
had
like
no idea.
Yeah.
what?
Like that's, and then
Yeah.
everyone was like DMing me like this is like illegal. Like you could actually take them to court. And I'm like,
Because they didn't let you
Yeah.
know beforehand
they
of
didn't let
the
me
like,
know it was
yeah.
being recorded,
It's
and they
like
tweeted it without my consent and everything.
Yeah.
So
That's
some
I'm
of
glad
crazy.
they.
I swear some of these orgs like I feel like their goal is that sometimes that when they sign these contracts like technically they legally they can sue or legally like they could fine you for certain stuff and that's kind of their goal because it's like they want to fine you so they can gain money to invest later on but like it's such a bad step to take to gaining like exposure in your org and it's like
Yeah.
it just doesn't it's like it doesn't appeal like it just doesn't make
Yeah.
sense
100%,
Well, it's not
100%.
a
yeah
successful business model. It's like
exactly
you're gonna like something's gonna get exposed, your reputation is
yeah
gonna be ruined, you're gonna lose all the players that you signed. You're gonna like they build, and it's exactly what we see. Their lifespan is like 2-3 months max
yeah
for the people who
hmm
run their orgs this way. It's like it does. You don't have to be saints, but it's like you have to at least be, have some legal proceedings, have some actual
hmm
contracts, like behave in a way that's at least neutral, and like
yeah
where it's mutually beneficial to say the least. But that just doesn't happen. So how is Pipeline? What was it like? How did they approach you? Like, was it in light of the Irelia thing, or was it like were you already in negotiations with them before? How did that like come to be?
So the main person who like runs Pipeline and owns Pipeline, Avaft, I've
that
been friends
yeah
with for a long time,
Okay.
and he was
such
just
a
looking
chill
to
dude
sign. Yeah,
love
love
that guy
Avaft, love him.
he lives
He,
literally like 20-30 minutes away from me so
oh
it's
really?
actually yeah it's actually sick we were I think he tweeted something about going out someone I was going to ask him if he wanted to but then I think he found someone or something but it was really cool knowing that he's 20-30 minutes out
Yeah, I love Avath. I've known him
he's a
for
great
a
guy
couple
yeah
years. Great guy, great guy.
yeah great
But
guy
yeah, so he hit me up, and I guess like PL was looking for like they just signed Jack, and they were just like they had like
Mm,
yeah
enough room in the budget to sign like one more like decent sized person, and I mean he gave me an offer, like a really good offer. So I
mm,
was like, screw it. Like, I mean, you're my boy. I actually ended up taking less money than what he originally offered me, just because I'm
mm,
friends with him.
oh
And
of
mm.
then
course
I made sure like going into it, I'm like, we're getting a full contract. I want everything written up. I want first month of
Right.
payment up front.
yeah yeah
Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want I
yeah
want the contract on DocuSign. I got
hmm
Yeah. Yeah.
everything situated, and like I mean I only asked for half my money up front. He ended up giving me the
Mm,
entire month up front,
mm.
and we got a lot of plans for the future. And I think the good thing is like the fact that I kind of vibe with the ownership more,
Yeah.
and they like
yeah
understand me as a person better than
Yeah.
like for Aurelia it was just like it's just like strictly business. So like
yeah
if
Yeah.
it's like a strictly business thing, I'm not as like motivated
Mm.
to like
do
help them
anything
do it.
for,
But like yeah,
yeah
like a
yeah
Vaft is
Sure.
like they're talking to me. They
and pipe
understand like I
yeah
have my own personal stuff as well that I got to get done, and then I'll help do the stuff they want me to do as well.
And Pipeline's been around for a while now. Like I remember
Yeah.
they've been in the scene for a while. They weren't as big, of course, but they were a team that people
Mm,
were like the smaller, like the kids that have this certain amount of PR. Like they want to get into like what are the recs for this, like getting into the small
mm.
team. But I saw them sign 3 players back to back to back. It was like K Burbs and like 2 others. And I was like, damn, they're making these big signings now. And then they pushed
Mm-hmm.
it on to Jack, and then they pushed it on to you.
Hmm.
And it's like, damn, Avaft is actually trying
Yeah.
something here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
And
the
he's a
roster is
genuine
solid.
owner. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's a genuine owner as
Crazy.
well. Like I know he cares a lot. Like
Mm.
he made a twit longer the other day about like his goals with the thing, and I'm like, damn, this is great to
Mm.
see.
Yeah, and I talk to Avath, like I just like sit in calls with him a lot too, and like
Hmm.
even when we're just like chilling there, he's always like talking about the org and stuff, and like
Mm.
Right.
passionate about it. So I think it's a good thing to see, and
Of
I think
course.
like,
Yeah.
and it's one of my friends. So like I want to help the org succeed as well.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I want. But I mean, right now I think the org is definitely like doing the right things. I mean,
Mm.
the
It's in a
comp
really good
roster
spot
is
right now.
solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
It's in a
the
really
comp
good spot.
roster. Who is it? It's Narwhal, D Roller, Vert, Nexi, Serbs. Who's
Jack. Yeah.
Jack? Forgot about Jack. Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
20.
Dude, they have a really good roster running right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Stackers for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're kind of like seemingly all of a sudden they're just all over the place. Like for me, like at chapter 4, like just PL is just everywhere for me.
Yeah. I see it on
Um,
the all the leaderboards and
yeah,
whatnot. Yeah.
like a big like meteoric rise, right at the emergence of the chapter, and the kind of this revival of comp and like this new era where like chapter 3 was almost like the dark ages where like everything was at its lowest, everyone was just demotivated, like
Mhm.
comp was bad, and like now we're
Yep.
seeing this resurgence, and I think like they're kind of riding that wave on the way up. But that's good to see. I mean, it seems like you've been enjoying it so far. You've been streaming a lot more, and even though you're not like was it the Irelia thing that took you out, like kind of demotivated you from like even like half trying in the arena race where you're just like now you're just
Nah.
streaming to stream, or were you just
That
like
had
I'm
nothing to
done
do
with
with it.
it? Okay.
Nah, if you want me to be honest, I mean it's the podcast. We'll be honest. I couldn't turn down this offer. The girl that I've known for a long time wanted to come
Oh
over,
yes, the
so
girl
Yeah.
you
I had
fumbled.
her
That's
come over
right.
for a
Mhm.
couple days. Hey, I haven't fumbled. We're good now. But
Oh, okay. Well, that
Okay.
was the last time I had talked to you before this.
Shocker.
That
nah,
was
we
not the
good.
case.
Hey,
So
we're chilling. We're chilling. I'm a professional fumble recovery
fumble
around here.
recovery.
Fumble
Okay.
recovery.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
But
Yep.
nah,
Totals. Okay.
I mean, she wanted to go over, so I wasn't gonna turn it down. And then
Yeah.
literally like the day after she left, I spilled coffee on my desk, dripped down
Oh, that's
onto the
right. The
top of my
PC.
PC,
Yeah.
straight onto my graphics card, fried my
Yeah.
PC, and then I'm just like,
Mm.
yeah, like I'm
That's
probably
a
done
G.
here. And
Yeah.
then I mean, ever since then, my main goal is just to hop on every single day
Yeah.
and stream like at least like 5 hours a day.
Oh yeah.
Minimum
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what I try to hit. And
Yeah.
that's just what I gotta keep myself to. I hold myself to.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, that's sick.
this is actually a really good point, and this leads us into kind of like the next topic about it. Do you believe like you? So right now you live with Oliver, and who are the other people? Crip or who
Crip
is
and
it?
Casker.
Right.
Casker.
All of
Yeah.
them.
And I know Crip loves streaming. Like I know Crips is always streaming. Like I'm tuning into streams like every now and then, and he's always like streaming like Val or something. Does living in a household with like people that are constant streamers, like Oliver streaming his events, Crip streaming here like a lot here and
Mhm.
there, and then like whatever to do with Casker, like is that does that motivate you to kind of do streaming a lot more?
Oh, 100%. I
Right.
mean,
Hmm.
like Oliver moved in a couple no, actually he moved in the same week as Invitational. And
Right.
then so Invitational happened and
That's a
then
good kickoff. Yeah.
yeah, and then we drove to Atlanta together, me, Oliver, Casker, and then Kodal came with us. Kodal lives like
Mm.
30 minutes away.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
then we got back and Oliver's just streaming every day. Like I
Yep.
Yeah.
leave my room and just Oliver's streaming 24/7. And it's definitely motivating because like you just see
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
like getting stuff done and it makes you want to do it as well. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
having Oliver here has definitely helped. But
Well, it's
the only
like
issue with Crip
being in
is
that.
Crip's like that's how-
It's like being in that upper echelon too. Like seeing greatness inspires like you to want to achieve the same thing. Like, okay, these
Right.
guys are like at the top achieving it. I want to reach the same point. And when you know that you've had a taste of it, or you're like you have that potential, like you are very much separating yourself from like even the other arena grinders where it's like, okay, these are streamers and a couple of them may be partnered, but you're in this like top tier now.
Yep.
I think very much in people's minds in the community sense of like, yeah, he's up there with the big hitters. You know, like you think like who are the types of mutuals you're gonna have with an Oliver OG or a Crip? Like you're getting into names, Clicks, Somerset, like literally like people who might not even know Fort will know some of those names. So yeah, you're climbing, man. It's good to see.
But yeah, especially
Speaking,
oh,
oh,
sorry.
go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah, no, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, like the first arena race, I don't think I really did a good job like connecting with my community or
Mm,
like trying
Right.
to build a community. But this time
mm,
around, like now that I was able to sleep more and I had more energy, I think I
mhm.
did way better this time around. Like
Yep.
actually, like building a community to a sense, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
For
and
sure.
like I did because I feel like I definitely have like a stronger like a bigger core community now than
Yeah,
I did
for sure.
after
For
last year,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
So that
And
definitely
Um.
helps.
Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Okay, you want me to go?
Yeah.
So yeah, so okay, so this is actually a bigger topic on like the whole living with people from the community or living with online friends, and it has to do with the zero ping city, Virginia. A lot of people talk about it, and I've seen on like a lot of other people talk about it. The whole Virginia like depression thing, or like Virginia being like one of those cities where you can't do much, exploring wise, and it's kind of it's because of the internet you're there and whatnot, right? What is that feeling like about the Virginia depression? I guess is what we can call it.
I mean, I feel like most of the people who are here that are like super depressed just don't really like get out enough. I mean,
Right.
Mhm.
okay, like you're gonna be like, oh, you grind arena, you play all day, like you don't leave
Yeah.
the house. But the thing is, when I'm not arena grinding, like I'm literally, there's not a single day I don't leave the house and do something.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like, uh,
Yeah.
I don't know when like AV lived here, me, Crip, AV,
Mm-hmm.
and Fox, like we'd always go do stuff. Like me, Crip,
Yep.
and Fox would always go out and do stuff. Like, but and same with when Zuni's lived here. Zuni's was always down to do anything,
Yep.
but he moved back to Nebraska. So honestly,
Okay.
I mean, it just depends. Like if you're friends with the people around here. Like right now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like the current house I'm in, like me, Crip, and Oliver, like we go to the gym like every day together. Like
That's
Yeah,
good
for
to
the
yeah.
last
hear.
couple weeks,
That's
we've been
great
doing
to hear,
that.
honestly. Yeah.
So that's definitely like really good. Helps with the mental for sure.
For sure.
But I mean,
Yeah.
outside of this house, there's really not many people here we hang out with. I'm trying to think of who else like lives here still. Like Blake, Cease, Vert,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Scented lives here. There's definitely a lot more. Edgy, I think,
Yeah.
Mm.
but
Yeah.
like not really people I'm like too close with. The one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I do regret though is that like Crypt became friends with a lot of the people like that are here while I was like full grinding and not going out ever.
Right.
So it
Mm.
kind of, and now I just don't want to be like the guy to like barge in, like, yo, you mind if I come
Oh
over? You know
yeah.
what I mean? So it's just
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
it kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
sucks, but it's all right. But
Yeah.
no, I don't know. It's like the area here, there's a lot to do. It's just
Okay.
like,
That's
I
good
feel
to
like
hear
it's
then.
more of like you moved here to play the game and it
Yeah.
Yeah.
just feel
Yeah.
and there's no way to really escape from it because even like the friends you hang out with around here for the most part
Right.
Yeah.
other streamers, so it's like you really it's hard to like actually
Mm.
get your mind off of it,
Yeah.
so it could definitely
I
get
Yeah.
get
back to
that.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, you just hear about like the whole like the Virginia thing about not being like if you're so tunneled on gaming, like not getting out enough and all this stuff, like it
Yeah.
makes a huge difference. Because the thing that people don't understand with like comp and especially even streaming and content is as much as it is about like being on a computer and being interactive with your chat and whatnot, you also need to learn to balance your outside life with that streaming life,
Mm.
like knowing when you need to stop or knowing your limits.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I
Mhm.
mean,
that's
it's
what I
like,
noticed early on in this arena race is like
Right.
mm,
I just don't want to do this anymore, like it's not worth it for me to
yeah.
get first, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start getting my life together
Well,
again.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like if you never have, like, for example, like you get on stream, it's like if you never have stories to talk about of when you were going out, or you don't have like
Yeah.
people to talk about, or
Mhm.
any like, it's like you have no substance in your life that people can get to know if literally
Yeah.
all you do is game
Everything
and
is
stream.
Fort.
So it's like
Yeah.
you can't even build a brand when all people know about you is that you stream, and it doesn't go any layers deeper than that. Um,
100%.
Yeah.
but just speaking of like friendships and relationships, like just real quickly as like kind of a last hurrah, I want to talk about like the CEO Jake thing, and not like in too much depth, but just like what was that like finding out something about that about someone that you were like decently close with, as an online friend, and like does that like make you a little bit more cautious in like how you approach those online relationships? Like how much trust is there when you only know someone like through Discord or through the game or whatever?
Yeah, at first, like when Jake first joined our like friend group Discord, I really did not like him at all. But
Right.
the more like we talked or he like joined the calls, like I mean I started like warm up to him a little bit, and then in person, I mean he was fun to be around, like
Mm.
just seemed like another
Mhm.
normal guy.
Mhm.
But
Right.
it happened to be that like all the stuff of him like scamming people was
Yeah.
unfolding literally like that after that weekend, like I said to you before we
Mhm.
started this, like um I got home, like me and Crib drove home like the Sunday night of Invitational. And
Yeah.
then I slept all day and I woke up and everything unfolded. Like everyone was
Yeah.
tweeting like, oh, Jake's
Yeah. The
scammed
whole
up
Yeah.
timeline for
and
sure.
all of that.
Yeah.
So it was like, dang, like I had no clue like that was happening at all.
Pretty sure I saw someone on the timeline that told it's one of the Zone Wars players. I think he became bigger off pluralism. I think his name's Jerain. I think he got scammed for about $900 from CEO Jake, which is crazy to think about.
So I think PlayFi did too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure PlayFi had a lot of comments to say about that.
Yeah, and I mean I've definitely like done my fair share of gambling, but I've never really been like addicted to gambling.
course,
So I
Sure.
wouldn't know what it's
Sure.
like to be like in that position. But I mean, it was literally like Jake would do anything to get money to be able to gamble. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like he would sit in our calls and he had owed like I think it was Jerry and $1,000 and Hydra $1,000 as
Jeez,
well.
bro.
Jesus
And
Christ.
he
That's
would turn
crazy.
like $400 gambling into like 4K, and we'd be yelling like, bro, like just withdraw 2K, you can pay off your debts, and then you can
And then go back to
and you
Yeah,
still have
and then
you
go
still
back
have
to
2K.
doing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then he's like okay, one more, bro, one more
Yeah,
blackjack hand. Then he loses and he
Mhm.
loses it all, and it's just like
Yeah.
I think it was at that moment that like we all realized like yeah, like this dude needs help, but like it was almost too late, and we didn't realize it was to the point of
Yeah.
scamming people.
Right. You thought it's
Yeah.
him just losing his own stuff or like
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But-
No, dude, like the psychology of it is insane. Like that the association to dopamine and like literally like it's almost like they actually can't control themselves. Like there is no other choice for them like in their own heads sometimes to where it needs intervention. I don't know. I mean, he said like in a tweet longer or whatever that he was gonna like go get help or whatever, but I don't know. I haven't kept up
Yeah.
on any of that, but yeah.
I don't know if he has. He actually like DM'd me on Discord like 3 or 4 days ago, but I did not respond to it.
Okay.
Because, like I don't know, like
Makes sense,
I don't know what's to be said, to be honest.
Yeah. And you're just like, yeah,
After all
I'm
that,
done.
there's
Like,
there's not much you
yeah,
can say.
yeah.
Yeah.
so has that
So-
like have you had other
Sorry.
experiences like that with people, or like is there a hesitancy? Like, is it different than the way you approach like an IRL person? Like, is there less trust there in a general, or are you just like, it was kind of a one-off? Like, I'm fine.
I mean, I like to think it's just a one-off, but to
Hmm.
be honest, I'm still just friends with like the same people I was friends with before all that went down.
Mm.
And like I rarely like honestly I rarely make like new friends online. Like I mean the people I
Mm.
talk to now I've been talking for a while.
Oh yeah, because you and Fox
Sure.
came up in the scene like almost around the same time ish.
Yeah. I actually met Fox whenever Primal season was, like March of
Yeah, March-ish.
2021.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
And
around that time.
we just started playing last winter and then just became really good friends. And I mean I've always trusted Fox. Like he's literally my closest friend. We lived
Yeah.
together for
Yeah.
5-6 months.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
I mean,
mean, you
definitely
guys-
online friendships can be like sketch,
Mm.
but
Yeah,
I feel like
for
I feel like
sure.
if you know somebody well enough, like
Yeah.
And especially,
But like I
especially
said,
living with them, yeah.
honestly,
Especially,
it's a weird double-edged sword because in some ways with online you're more willing to be vulnerable and talk deeper and like form deeper connections than you would with IRL people because there is that like comfort of like being behind a screen.
Yeah.
So it's weird because like some of my onlines are definitely closer than I've been with most people in my life, but then like if you're not past that threshold, like you're basically a stranger to me. Like I may know your like Twitch username, but like there's nothing there beyond that. And it's weird, like I wouldn't say I have like a way that I choose or process like who gets to cross that threshold and when, but it just kind of like happens.
yeah. It's
but,
like a
like,
gut
yeah,
feeling.
Yeah.
But you get the ones like you and Fox, and you're just like, yeah, that's real. Like seeing you guys interact, like you two care for each other as much as you guys troll like on stream. Like you two like are looking out for each other. Like you're very clearly ride or die. Like,
Yeah.
like both of you
Always.
are invested in each other's stuff as much as your own. It seems like from the outside, and that was like even just like at Invitational, that was clear. Like it was like, yeah, these dudes are like tight. Like
Yeah.
they would die for each other. So
Love that
I don't know.
guy.
It's
Love
it's
that
cool
guy.
to see that. Yeah, man. I think we're
Well,
good.
I got
Unless
one more
you have anything more of a show.
one
Yeah,
last
go
thing,
ahead.
yeah.
But, yeah.
So, like, this comes off the friends thing, and this is actually like really important, especially for comp players and like content. Because making connections in content is like all what it is. Like when you make those connections is when you can start growing yourself, right?
Yeah.
How important is it in this scene, like content or comp,
Mm.
regardless of what it is, like having a friend group?
Mm.
I mean, having a friend group. If I'm being honest, the friend group I'm in probably, uh, I would say hold me back, but it definitely like makes me want to not stream. Like honestly, because
Right.
the friend group I'm in right now, all they just play FIFA with each other all day
Yeah.
and barely
Yeah.
play the game. But
Jerry's
like,
been on the
if
FIFA grind.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jerry and they
Yeah.
love it, bro. Like I'll join the call, they're
Yeah.
always playing.
Yeah.
But I mean, how important is it to have a friend group? I don't think having a friend group is important, but having connections,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
networking. Yeah,
connections
yeah.
is everything.
Networking
Yeah.
is
But
a lot of this
Yeah.
entire scene, to be honest.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, if the
So
thing is, if you want to make it in comp, like you need a good friend group to grind with. But
Yeah.
if for content's different. Comp, yes, you want to have a really good like friend group to just grind
So
the game with. But
last
know.
last remarks. Let's say viewers out there, kids out there who are wanting to become what you've become or kind of get themselves out there in the same sense. What would be like the main piece of advice in that sense? Like, what would be the one thing that you leave those people with?
I think if you put enough time and energy into the right things in anything you want to accomplish in life, that you
Mm.
can just like get it done. Like
Mm.
especially with content, if you like put in enough time, you'll realize what works and what doesn't work, what you
Mm.
need to do to
For
like
sure.
surpass a certain like what's the word I'm looking for, plateau.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Then
threshold,
like
plateau, yeah, whatever.
yeah, I mean just don't get demotivated when things are
Mm.
like not going as well as you think, because
Yeah,
just because you're making slow progress doesn't mean you're making no progress.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
That's
Yeah,
gonna be the
for
podcast
sure.
maybe not.
Yeah, we'll end it on a
We'll
we'll end it
end
on a
on
segment like that.
that.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you for coming on.
For sure. Yeah. It was a great time. Great
Yeah,
time.
you want to do a sequel episode in the future, let us know. But
100%.
For sure.
yeah, we'll call it there, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time on the GhostComms
Thanks,
podcast.
everybody.
Later.